Dragon Age Inquisition is a fantasy RPG released by BioWare in 2014. It was the third game in the Dragon Age series. In Inquisition, you play as the Inquisitor, a fully customizable main character. During the game, you gain companions, make choices, build an army, and work towards fighting and facing off against an archdemon who essentially wants to destroy the world. I own this game on 3 different consoles, and I've run through the whole story at a minimum of 4 times. This game holds a special place in my heart as it played a role in me exploring my gender and sexuality that eventually led to me coming out as a trans guy. My motivation to play this game went far beyond the mechanics and overarching story. In this essay, I'll be exploring my attraction to Dragon Age Inquisition through the lens of my journey of self-discovery through embodiment and Jung's theory of the shadow. In the context of this essay, embodiment can be defined as when the player feels they are the character in the game. This means they feel and react emotionally as if they were the character themselves, as if they were in their mind. This can also be referred to as character bleed, a coin termed by the LARP community. Embodiment in Dragon Age Inquisition is a mechanical aspect of the game. Players make choices that affect the world and get to fully customize their character. The game wants you to feel like the Inquisitor. Now, on my first playthrough, I didn't actually feel a strong sense of connection to my character, who I designed as a kind-hearted female elf. It wasn't until my second playthrough, where I played a semi-sarcastic male human, that I really felt like I was embodying the character. I started this second run in 2017. I was 15 at the time, and in an all-girls private Catholic school. That's about as much fun as it sounds like it was. I just cut my hair short for the first time, and I was really exploring queer culture and what that could mean for me. So, I started my second run-through of Inquisition, and I designed this male character. I connected far more with this guy I'd made than the female one, and even though the world and characters hadn't changed, just that one aspect affected my entire experience. A game I'd taken months to complete the first time whizzed by in a span of 2 weeks. I found myself mimicking the way my Inquisitor would lean on walls and walk around corners in my real life. I wanted to be my Inquisitor not for the great adventure he was on, but because he was a he. For me, the power fantasy was figuring out who I was. When NPCs would refer to my Inquisitor with male pronouns, it made me feel really good, which made the romantic path with the character of Dorian Pavis even more important. But more on him later. I did not head into this second run of Inquisition with the intent of exploring my gender. This is something that happened organically as I embodied the character of the Inquisitor. I unintentionally made a character that represented a part of myself that I hadn't come to terms with yet, and perhaps at the time wasn't ready to fully tackle. My shadow. The shadow, as defined by Carl Jung, personifies everything that the subject refuses to acknowledge about himself, an opposite of the version of themselves they project out into the world. In most studies of the shadow, it is depicted as the evil or dark parts of one's psyche, the part of us that enjoys killing hordes of people in games when in real life the concept of killing a single person is mortifying. This exploration of the shadow is not wrong, but it's a narrow way of exploring this theory. In my case, the shadow was parts of myself that I didn't want to acknowledge. Parts of myself that, to an extent, would put me in emotional danger. All girls private Catholic schools are not queer-friendly environments, so expressing a queer side of myself or even contemplating it was not encouraged. It was much safer to subconsciously shove those parts of myself into my shadow to protect myself. The largest exploration of my shadow did not actually come from my character though, but from the reflection of it I found in the character of Dorian Pavis. In Dorian's personal quest, Last Resort of Good Men, you receive a letter from Dorian's estranged father, asking for you to take his son to meet him in a tavern. During this meeting, Dorian reveals that the reason he fled his home and country was because he is gay, and he hadn't wanted to play pretend. But on finding out his son wouldn't be married, his father planned on using blood magic, a very dangerous and unpredictable magic, on his son to magically fix him.
You tried to change me.
I only wanted what was best for you.
You wanted the best for you. Your fucking legacy.
Dorian himself admits that this kind of magic hasn't actually been knowingly attempted before and could have left him comatose or worse.
I can't even imagine the person I would be now. You wouldn't like that, Dorian.
Seeing this story unravel brought me to tears. I remember just sitting there and crying because who could be so cruel? But at the same time, I cried because this character had lived through my greatest fear. My shadow was protecting me from this very outcome, of being shamed and run off and ridiculed for who I was. But this isn't where Dorian's story ends. He continues through this. He doesn't let despair win. He learns that people will love him for who he is, that it was his father and the culture that was the problem, not him. This was my shadow's reflection. Subconsciously, I thought that if something went wrong, if I wasn't accepted, then that was it. But Dorian's perseverance through my greatest fear allowed me to confront that part of my shadow and accept it as a part of myself. I moved my queer aspects into the light because his character and world had shown me that if things went wrong, it would be alright in the end. Dragon Age Inquisition let me express my shadow in such a way that allowed me to truly accept it as a part of myself. 2 years later, in 2019, I moved to a mixed-gendered public school, where I came out as trans and was accepted with open arms. It's now 2015 and I'm doing great. I have an amazingly supportive group of friends who have helped me through my gender journey and beyond. Dragon Age Inquisition helped me to explore my gender and sexuality in a safe environment through embodiment and my shadow.